Now, I think I have to stop here. Concerning this book there in the background, now what I communicated to you tonight, much of that is here in this book, and you can take it along in that way. Now, there is a special seminar prize for this weekend for that here. No, as you see, the original price now is much, much higher. Thank you.
If you stay here.
Oh, sure.
You will notice on the program a statement that says a question and answer period follows each of the addresses. And so I think we need you here at the microphone to answer the questions. And if you will speak into a microphone, that will be very helpful so that everyone can hear you, as well as so that I can hear you. I'm wearing this listening system here. And I think that Carl will do fine also if you speak into a microphone, if you'd be willing to do that. So who has something to say or to ask, and the microphone will be brought to you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. I'm rather ignorant of how the Amish lived on their estates that you showed pictures of, and these estates are obviously very large buildings. Who actually lived in those large buildings? Was it the conductor of the estate and his family plus others? I mean, I don't know how they filled that huge building with their 13 kids or 20 kids.
Well, you can fill quite a lot of space with 13 kids.
That's true. Was it mainly the conductor who lived in the large house?
Yes. Now, as you remember, now I mentioned that sometimes they took out a lease together. No, and then there were other people, acquaintances, friends of them, that also came to live on these estates and helped them in the farm work. So there was quite a number of people there, and these houses were not too big for them.
So it was like a small community, actually.
Yeah. No, some of the Amish houses that I have seen even in this area, they are quite large. No, actually, once I remember we went to Pocahontas, and then we turned to the right, and suddenly I said to Arne, look there. No, it looked like a hotel. No, so it is nothing out of the ordinary. The spaces were definitely well used. Yes.
Others? All right, and as time goes on, I think there'll be opportunity. Do I understand correctly that there's coffee, donuts in the basement for fellowship afterwards? Somebody confirmed that. I didn't go down to check to see if it's there. Okay. A hard question to answer. They're not there yet, but will be by the time we get there, I guess. That's the schedule. All right. So that'll be time also then to discuss these kinds of things with questions. Well, thank you, Carl. Very informative. Maybe you would like to change posture and stand a couple minutes while we move on to our next feature here. And, I wonder how often in the past year that James L. Yoder, and I think he prefers to be called Jim, wonder how often we've had a phone conversation about something where perhaps I had some question, perhaps in my editorial work with the historian paper, I needed clarification on some detail, and so you know how it is. Sometimes instead of doing your original research, you go to encyclopedia. And since we have something of a genealogical walking encyclopedia among us, I find it very helpful just to give Jim a call when something comes up. And he has had such a service for us with his research and his knowledge of that. So what we're up to now is to hear Jim talk about Somerset, Garrett County connections, that is families of Waldeck that came to or passed through the Castleman Valley area. Carl was talking about the other side of the ocean. Those people, many left, did not stay there. They came here. Jim will tell us who they were. You may be seated.
Okay. Well, good evening. As I was watching these computers come up and things being hooked up, I thought to myself, isn't that some kind of a historical meeting? It just doesn't seem right. Anyhow, my subject for this evening will be these immigrants who Carl was speaking about who lived in this area. And we're looking from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, down to Aurora, West Virginia. We are called the Castleman historians, and the Castleman River starts at Bittinger and flows north through Garrett, Rockwood, and back down to Harnetsville. And that is the area where we get our name is the Castleman historians. It was in this area here. Berlin and Shanksville was the Glades, and then Johnstown was Conemaugh. So the people I will be talking about are those who Carl has asked me to share with you. So we will start with Christian Schwarzentrubler, who a lot of you are descendants of. When they came to America, they first lived in Salisbury, Pennsylvania, along the Castleman River, where Mervyn Yoder's farm is. So next, then they moved to Springs, PA. And they moved along Ash Hill. And when they came to Ash Hill, there were 9 German families living within about a 2-mile radius of each other. Here was Christian Schwarzentrubler. Right beside him was Wilhelm Bender. On Noah B.'s farm was Joseph Bender and his wife Magdalena Schwarzentrubler, and she was a sister to Bishop Jacob Schwarzentrubler. And on Savage Road was Jacob Kinsinger. And on Vida Bender's farm was Peter Jutze. And on the state line was Jacob Schoenberg on Martin Bender's farm. And living with them in 1850 was Christian Orndorff and his wife Barbara Schwarzentrubler. She was a sister to Christian Schwarzentrubler. In 1852, Barbara's brother Wilhelm sold this farm to Christian Schwarzentrubler's. It was 145 acres, and Wilhelm owned a large acreage in this area, and he sold this part to his sister Barbara and Christian Schwarzentrubler. Barbara died in 1852 and 1864 at age 63, and she's buried in the Peter Beachy Cemetery, where her daughter Barbara and her stepmother Elizabeth Bender were buried. In 1970, Christian sold the farm on Ash Hill to Simon Falk. In 1869, his son Jacob had bought the Norman Yoder farm. and Christian then moved in with his son Jacob. If you follow this little hill up, like behind this tree is a little cemetery, and there is where Christian Schwarzentrubler is buried. Next, we go to Jacob Oswald. Jacob may have been the father of John Oswald, who married YRC Bishop Samuel Yoder's daughter Anna. Anna did immigrate, but lived first in Ohio, and in 1848 moved to Illinois with sons Jacob and John. Her sisters Catherine, Mary, and Barbara Yoder did live in the Johnstown area. So next we go to Bishop Samuel Yoder of Hesse. He married in 1867, died 1806 at age 62 at the home of his daughter Mary, married to John Shetler in Waldeck, Germany. Carl's question is the descendants of Samuel Yoder who emigrated to America. The answer is there were 4 children and 7 grandchildren who came. First to come in 1825 was Michael and Magdalena S. Yoder with 2 children, Jacob and John, and they lived in the Davidsville, PA area. They moved to Holmes County, Ohio in 1845. Second to come in 1831 was Samuel's daughter Mary, married to John Shetler with 2 children, Christian and Elizabeth. They lived in Conomo Township near Davidsville. Bishop Samuel and Sanford Shetler of Stowe Mennonite Church at Davidsville, PA are their descendants. John Shetler was an uncle to Maria and Daniel Shetler, who lived in New Germany. Samuel Yoder's children, Catherine and Mary, remained in Somerset County, PA. Barbara died in Johnson County, Iowa, Michael in Holmes County, Ohio, and Anna in Illinois. So next we go to Bishop Samuel Brannaman. The question is, are descendants in America? One brother, Daniel Brannaman, lived in New Germany, Maryland. And according to Gingrich Kreider, Annie, married to Daniel Otto, was the daughter of Bishop Samuel Brannaman. Here are 3 of her 4 children. They are Anna, Jacob, and Christian. These 3 all remain in the Castleman Valley area. It actually just several miles south of Grantsville. And Daniel moved on into Arthur, Illinois. Annie married Daniel Otto and lived on the Tice Falk Farm near Grantsville. Annie died there in 1871. Bishop Samuel's son Johannes was married to Margaret Otto. After Johannes died in 1827 in Germany, Margaret married John Otto, a brother to Daniel Otto on the Tice farm. John was one of 4 Otto brothers who lived in this area. John and Margaret immigrated 1845-46 with 3 of Bishop Samuel Brannaman's grandchildren. John and Margaret Otto and 3 of Samuel Brannaman's grandchildren were living in Biddingher, Maryland in 1850. In 1855, John and Margaret Otto bought in Biddingher from the estate of Strong John Beachy. In 1857, this family was settling the estate of John and Margaret Otto. Quoting from the estate papers, by Samuel Brannaman, by power of attorney of Daniel and Jacobrina Otto, his wife, of the state of Illinois, heirs of John Otto, late of Allegheny County and state of Maryland, deceased. So these 3 of Samuel Brannaman's grandchildren were living in Illinois in 1857. Next we have Johannes Weyre, or the question is, did some pass through our area? Yes, there were 3 grandchildren who lived here. Johannes Weyre's daughter, Catherine, married Christian Shetler. Catherine and Christian both died in Germany. Their children who lived here were Maria, married to Jacob Otto, and she lived in New Germany, Maryland. Helena married Jacob Otto and lived in Gortner, Maryland. Daniel married Helena Schwarzentrubler from New Germany, and moved to Johnson County, Iowa later on. Catherine Wayre died in 1812. Christian Shetler's second wife was Elizabeth Summer. Daughter of Christian Summer, Elizabeth was the little girl who opened the door for the hikers. Next, we come to the Summer family. The 1802 account of hikers at the Summer home. Shyly, I knocked on the door at the main room, and a dear and friendly young girl opened the door to me. According to Stuckey, the little girl who opened the door was Elizabeth Summer, second wife of Christian Shetler, the father of Maria, Helena, and Daniel. In 1834, Elizabeth Summer Shetler, the little girl who opened the door for the hikers, brought 5 children to the Johnstown, PA area. Her husband, Christian, who had died in Germany, was a brother to Johannes Shetler, who had married Mary Yoder, daughter of YRC Bishop Samuel Yoder. Elizabeth was the second wife of Christian Shetler. Elizabeth then became a stepmother to Helena, Daniel, and Maria. This is a farm where Maria and her husband, Jacob Otto, lived in New Germany. And it's the Warwick farm now, and there's a little cemetery on top along the trees, the wooded area where Jacob and his wife Maria are buried. This was their log cabin they lived in. And this was a Bible that Jacob had gotten from his father in Germany in 1820, and he brought it with him to America. Next is Jacob Schwarzentrubler. When they came here in 1833, they first lived in Shanksville and then moved south to New Germany. I do believe this is where Jacob Schwarzentrubler's lived in New Germany. I need to do more work on this. This is where Grace Shunk lives. And I just recently read an article where an interview was done a good many years ago. And in that article, they said this house was built in 1849. Not as you see it, but if it was built in 1849, it's possible Jacob built this house. But I cannot say that for sure, and I need to do more research into this. This is another part of the Jacob Schwarzentrubler farm in New Germany. When Jacobs lived in New Germany, they lived in this area right here. But while they lived here, in this area here was Christian Schwarzentrubler. He was a minister who later went to Iowa. Here was Daniel Brennemans. And next to them was another Christian Schwarzentrubler and his wife, Catherine Kinsinger. And next was Jacob and Maria Otto. When the Amish left the New Germany area, when they moved out, they took 39 children out of New Germany with them. Next, the question was, were there descendants of Christian Gingrich in our area? Yes, there were. Barbara Esch, wife of Jacob Schwarzentrubler, was first married to Peter Gingrich, son of Christian. 4 of Christian Gingrich's grandchildren lived here. They were Minister John, who is a minister in our area, Catherine, married to Valentine Tice, Jacob, and Daniel. 9 of this blended family of Gingrich and Schwarzentrubler's lived in this area. They all went west. This is the farm Bishop Joseph Schwarzentrubler, known as Hickory Joe, owned in Biddinger, Maryland. The question Carl asked, are any descendants here of Jacob Schwarzentrubler? The answer is yes, but not still. This is Corby Graber, who has moved here from Iowa, who is a descendant of Jacob and Hickory Joe. and he is looking at Maria Bender Brannaman's tombstone. She died on this farm with her son, where her son Jacob Brannaman lived in Benninger in 1860. Now, I have put together a bit of a slideshow, and we will be playing some music with this. So this will last about 7 minutes, David. It's back to you.
Some sweet day when life is o'er, we shall meet above. We shall greet those gone before in that home of love. Some sweet day, some sweet day, oh, that happy time will be, some sweet day. Trials here below we meet, sorrow, pain, and care. In that happy home so sweet, joy and peace we'll share. Some sweet day, some sweet day, oh, that happy time will be, some sweet day. Bright the dawning of that morn, night returns. sweet day, some sweet day. Oh, that happy time will be some sweet
Gently, Lord, oh, gently lead us through this lonely vale of tears. And, O Lord, in mercy give us thy rich grace.